Alright, so let's start off by creating our project. I have a terminal open up right here. I'm using iterm2, but it doesn't really matter which terminal you use. I'm going to cd into a directory where I want to create our new Astro project, and then I'm going to run the command on the screen here. So this is from the astro.build website, and I'm going to run npm create astro at latest. Before I run this command, I will note that you need Node.js installed, so however you want to get that, whether that's going through a Node version manager or a different Node version manager like FNM, that would give you access to npm here. So I'm going to run that, and as I run it, it's going to give me some prompts. It asks, where should we create your new project? Ignore this error right here. I don't know where that's coming from. It's Squealing Sphere. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to call this project. In this case, I will select the Use Minimal Empty Template. And for installing dependencies, yes. Initialize a new Git repository, yes. And I'll have this project loaded to GitHub, so you'll be able to see my final code. Okay, at this point it says liftoff confirmed, which is the quirky way that Astro tells us that it's ready to start working on the project. You can cd into your directory by going cd and then whatever the name of your new project is, whichever name you gave it. In this case, it is Squealing Sphere. So I'm going to cd into the directory, and then I'm going to run npm run dev. And this is going to start up the project. I'm going to go to the link that they give me, localhost 4321, and you'll see on the screen that it's a pretty much blank page that just says Astro on it. Very exciting so far. Let's take a look at the actual code we're dealing with. So in another tab in my terminal, I'm going to open my code editor. And in this case, I'm using Z, though you can use VS Code or Sublime Text or Notepad, whatever tools you like to use. And let's get that on the screen. Let's take a look at the code for this one. So in it, the only file that is really interesting with the minimal template is this index.astro. This is where the page that we're seeing is being rendered. Additionally, we also have an Astro config file that we probably won't have to touch, but that's my computer starting to crash. Okay. So if we need to configure Astro, we can do so here. And let's start off by adding Tailwind to the project. So in my terminal over here, let's make that text a little bit bigger. I'm going to add Tailwind, and in order to do that, I'm going to go Astro add Tailwind. And it doesn't like that, so I'm actually going to go Astro add Tailwind. The reason why I didn't see the command there is I don't have Astro installed globally, but since we installed it as a dependency of this npm project, we can access it by going npm run astro add tailwind. So where it says if we want to run that command, I'm going to go yes, because we're going to have to run it sooner or later. And then it says it's going to scaffold styles/global.css. We will need that. And it's going to update the astro.config.mjs file with this new plugin for Tailwind. Yes. And it's not going to add this, but it's going to tell us we need to import the global.css file in order for it to do anything. So let's do that as well. This is the manual step. It suggests putting it in a layout file, so let's do that. First, I'm going to copy this line, and then I'm going to go to my code editor over here. In the src directory, I'm going to create a new folder called layouts. And in that folder, I'm going to put a layout.astro. And in this layout.astro file, I'm going to add a few hyphens, 2 sets of hyphens, and inside that I'm going to put our import for the global.css file. Okay. And in order to make this layout actually useful for us, I'm going to put a div in it, and then I'm going to put a slot in it. And I'll explain what this does in a second, but first I'm going to run it to make sure I'm not just kidding myself. And in here, I'm going to go layout. And then reformat the code a little bit. And we should be able to import this file from the layout.astro file. Okay, so at this point we should have some new CSS, and you'll see that our Astro is no longer big and bolded. The font has changed a little bit. This tells us that our styles are now working. Okay, well that's pretty cool. Let's refactor this code a little bit so that our layout also takes advantage of the header tag and the body tag, so we don't need to rewrite these every time we write a new page. Okay, so to do this, I'm actually just going to copy this whole thing and paste it in here. And where I used to have layout and the H1 of the Astro in it, I'm actually going to put that slot that I defined earlier. So I skipped over this part initially, but the slot is where all the child components of the layout are rendered. So in this case, we have one page, this index.astro page, and in it, we first render the layout tag, and inside the layout tag, we put the child content of the page. So the layout has the header tag, it's got the title in it, and it's got the body tag, and whatever other meta tags you want. And one more thing I'm going to want to do here is change that title to adjust to the page that we're on. Now a reminder that the title corresponds to the title of your tab up here. Just refresh that page to make sure it still works. It seems that it does. So let's add a title prop. And the way that the title prop looks like is you just insert a prop very similar to React, an equal sign, and then a string of whatever you want the title to be. I will just put my personal website. Name that whatever you'd like. And in the layout, I'm going to put a prop in it. And with an Astro file, props are done like this. You'll assign, or you'll destructure off of astro.props the name of your prop. In this case, it's title. And where I get the title, I'm going to insert it into my code. So now we should see that the title is changed. And, well, it is my personal website. Very good. So at this point, we have set up our Astro project, we've installed our dependencies, we've added Tailwind, and we've even created a layout file where we import our CSS and then take the index page and move it into that layout.